listeners. This is Jesse.
And this is Greg.
And you're listening to Spoilers Are Good Actually, a podcast where we revisit some of our old favorite shows and talk about how knowing the ending affects our experience the second time through.
Today we're watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, Book 2, Chapter 6, The Blind Bandit. The way this podcast works is there is a non-spoiler section and a spoiler section. The non-spoiler section assumes you've watched all of the show and listened to the podcast up until the current episode. We will only talk about all of Avatar: The Last Airbender up until Book 2, Chapter 6, The Blind Bandit. If you want to talk about anything more than that, we recommend you stay for the spoiler section, where we will talk about anything in Avatar: The Last Airbender, anything we've consumed, Legend of Korra, any of the books, the comics, all of it's fair game in the spoiler section. If you don't want to attend the spoiler section, fine, but you really should.
And one quick content note. Avatar: The Last Airbender is a kids show, but this is not a kids podcast. While we won't be going into any darker or more mature themes than the show itself does, we will be using adult language, so listener be warned.
We're back. We're in the good stuff. This is when Book 2 really starts picking up, starting with The Blind Bandit, which is one of the best episodes of Avatar.
It's so good.
Every time I watch this episode, I'm like, I want to watch some pro wrestling. It makes me really want to get into pro wrestling.
There are so many just iconic moments in this episode.
Good. And, of course, we introduce Toph, a fan favorite, for good reason, the powerhouse of the squad. Ah, man. It's also like, this is when we just start to see, wait, earthbending is more than just throwing rocks at other people. It can be pretty cool, right? Anybody that saw it originally would be like, you can do more than that, right? And then they just only see earthbenders lifting rocks and pushing things. The best you would see really before now is Boomy. And you're like, okay, sure, I guess, but And then Toph comes in and does things like make Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson do splits. And that is...
Dwayne the Pebble Johnson.
Yeah, no, I love this episode. I love Toph, and we will talk about her a whole lot. I'm so excited about it. So, yeah. Oh, wait, I guess we did the 10-word summary. Is that the thing we do at this point?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go first, or should I?
Do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
My 10-word summary is: a little girl fights Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and wins. That's not a summary of the episode, but it's the important part.
You really should have kept the Rock joke until you read your 10-word summary. I feel like it lost some of its impact.
Oh. You can take
No,
it
I will not.
Damn it.
I will not edit it to make you look better. It's funnier this way.
You're the worst.
My 10-word summary is: Aang cheats at pro wrestling, Toph runs away from home.
Yeah.
Boring. but
accurate.
It gets the point across.
It's accurate. Anyway, yeah, so...
Seriously, why did he use airbending?
Oh, I think it was more of a defense thing. Like, he wanted to push the rock away, but he also did it was a big rock. And so...
Yeah, he could have dodged.
He could have dodged, theoretically, but I don't think he was really thinking about
Cheater.
it. Cheater. Fucking cheater.
What else were the guys supposed to think?
Yeah. I also have questions about the entire premise behind that, like... You should be fine with writing off the amount of money that you're going to give away as a business. Like, anyway, it's...
Yeah, but they're not a business.
They're a business.
They're
an illegal...
sleazy underground...
Business. You are an organization of people trying to get money from other people. It's a business. It's an illegal one.
It doesn't seem particularly
It's not illegal. They are kind of sleazy, right? But even the worst of criminal organizations would want to keep good track of their money, and if they're going to use some money to appease to the crowd and be like, "Hey, we'll give you this pot of money for this," I guess for it to be like.
It makes me think of card counting at casinos.
Okay, wait, why?
Well, because. Theoretically, at a casino, they should be prepared for people to sometimes win the fucking money. Mm-hmm. But if somebody comes in and is, being sneaky, trying to, cheat the system. And
Cheat the system.
Right. It's not technically, against the rules. right? But they are kind of trying to game the system and get a leg up. And that's similar to, like, Toph agreeing to lose to get the money. It just doesn't...
I mean, fair enough, yeah. Like, I see that for sure.
They feel cheated. I don't think either of those situations warrant somebody being, like, fucking, like, kidnapped and ransomed and the violence. But, you know.
Yeah. Still fun. Anyway.
Fun is an interesting word.
Sokka with his bag was also
so relatable.
My first note, Sokka with the bag is really just me and Jesse.
Okay, but which one is which?
You know which one is which. You're Sokka in this one. You should get this. Well, go and get it then. But I don't need it.
It's so expensive.
I mean, like, if you really don't want to spend that money, it's fine. You don't have to.
But I want it.
Then get it. We've looked at our funds. Like, we know how much money we have. We can get it.
But Greg, I can't spend $50 on enamel pins again.
And then at the end of the day, we get it.
Yeah, I mean, I usually do get the pins.
Yeah.
Listen, it's a nice bag.
It was a very nice bag.
And then it matched his belt.
Matched the
what
belt.
a relief.
Momo enjoyed it too.
My god, perfect. They can bring him on the subway now.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
He fits in the bag.
That was a lot of fun. There were just so many very funny comedic bits in this episode that was just here to introduce Toph. We will talk about in depth. Mm-hmm. Like we got the hey, tough guys, wait up, and
a girl has her ways.
And then the I'm watching you.
Oh my god, Water Tribe.
Which
one of the most iconic moments of the entire series. Top GIF material.
And then we can combine that with the oh wait, never mind. We can't combine that with anything because that is a spoiler.
I really liked the guy near the beginning trying to advertise the earthbending school, and he was like, "Psst, hey kids,
hey kids,
want to buy some drugs?
Some rock
bending? Rocks.
Want some earthbending?
You want some rocks?"
And and I like they made Master Yu, I think that's his name. Yes, out to be like one of those mall karate guys. Mm-hmm. Also fun. Just lots of very relatable things. Mm-hmm. I felt a lot of, oh man, context for everyone. I recently got a tarot deck, and because of that, I was looking at a lot of the suits and things like that. And so we've got the suit of coins or pentacles or discs, which was what they called it in my deck, which is very based on materialism and earth, and that's kind of what we're seeing here a lot. Mm-hmm. Everything here in this plot either revolved around or really emphasized money and wealth and the collection and transfer of cash. Master Yu's earthbending school was very clearly just the kind of place that he's just trying to he's a mall karate guy, right? He's just collecting money. He's willing to bump people up for the next belt if they pay him enough, right? Mm-hmm. You've got the guys that are ransoming Toph. They only were interested in going after her and Aang because of money. Even Toph's family is just filthy fucking rich. It felt like money was a linchpin of this entire episode in a way that just doesn't show up usually in Avatar. Mm-hmm. Even when the gang is low on funds and they really need cash or whatever, it didn't seem to take the front and center like it did here. And I made this connection because I was, I've learned a bit more about the symbolism of tarot and how we often connect the elements of earth, worldliness, materialism.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was cool. I'm really doing my best to exhaust all of the things I can before I focus on Toph specifically.
That's true. I mean, we can talk about how fucking sick all the earthbending fights were, and the animation in this episode just next level.
It was great. They really did pay a lot of attention to this episode. They wanted to show us that earthbending is really fucking cool, and they didn't and they needed to really sell that Toph is on another fucking level, right? Yep. They had our the boulder, who was a lot of fun from beginning to end. The boulder's over his conflicted feelings. Oh man, he was so good. And like I liked the framing of it in Earth Rumble 6.
Yeah.
Making it a whole thing. Jesse was looking at me as I was yelling alongside Sokka during.
God, listen, I think I've mentioned before that Greg often just like quotes the show as we're watching it because he just remembers all the lines, but it was like 3 times as much as normal this episode. I feel like
I know this entire episode.
You
pretty much
quoted along to like 2/3 of the fucking dialogue.
Yeah. I know. It
was wild.
It's so good. Like, fucking Sokka is the most relatable character during Earth Rumble 6 because like Katara and Aang are here to be like absolutely serious and shit, but Sokka's like, there are big dudes throwing rocks and fighting each other.
That's what I paid
and
for.
And this is what we fucking came here for.
It's not though.
But it is.
But it's not though.
Definitely is. Oh man, yes. Fucking Fire Nation man randomly has a Russian accent. We don't see or hear any other person in the entire series with an accent even close to that.
Yeah.
Which made it funnier. Like,
I mean, that's just more proving that it's like a caricature and they don't know shit.
Oh man. But yeah, like it was the entire episode is just a really fun, really cool way to pull us into kind of just a very different kind of society than the one that like they've been into before. This is like the second biggest, maybe third biggest, behind Omashu and the Water Tribe capital that they've been in.
Right, the Northern Water Tribe.
Yeah. And so like we've got a lot of these dynamics that we don't see in Omashu either. Like we didn't see, like in Omashu we really only cared about Bumi. We didn't really like give a fuck about the common people. Like, when the Fire Nation took over and they had to help them out, they did that, but like they didn't really interact with them that much. But like here they really were just like having the common people's experience up until Aang played the Avatar card and got himself a seat at the table with the richest dude in the city.
Just on the topic of animation, I've always really liked how they visualize Toph's earthbending with like the seismic waves.
Yeah.
And everything goes kind of black and white and things are happening like in slow motion and then being sped up and then being slowed down again.
Yeah, it was really
it just
cool.
makes it a really engaging and entertaining sequence to watch.
It makes it it makes it very easy to understand on a visceral way. Like, she doesn't even have to explain it to us. The moment we see the first fight, and we like the first time she fights and we see how she does it, we're like, oh, that's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
How? Oh, okay. Toph has, I'm sure I've mentioned this before. Toph has a completely different fighting style. Like, her earthbending is based on a completely different fighting style than every other earthbender.
Yeah.
It's like praying mantis style, hungar or whatever, something like that.
She certainly does look like a praying mantis with the hands.
Yeah. And it's very cool to see it in action. It's cool to see her moving in a specific way. And it's really cool to like watch how it feels like she's efficient in a way that everybody else isn't. When you see an earthbender fight, what you're expecting normally is they're going to pick up a giant fucking rock and throw it at you. And you need to get out of the way of that giant fucking rock.
Or sometimes 5 of them are going to pick up one medium-sized rock
stop
together.
It. You stop. We don't talk about that. Also, that might technically be spoiled.
That's all right. It's only a spoiler if you know what we're talking about, in which case it's not a spoiler.
It's not a spoiler.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, then that's consider yourself lucky.
We're talking about a Shyamalan movie.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, but Toph uses earthbending in the way that you would expect someone clever to use it, right? I'm going to make minimalist movements, and I'm going to very drastically affect small areas of the environment around me to make it very hard for you to make contact or really or handle things at all. Overly Sarcastic Productions, they've got really good YouTube videos. They called Toph's like archetype the powerhouse, which I really liked. In TV tropes, they like have the 5-man band, and like normally they call somebody the big guy.
Yeah.
But like Red from OSP was like, big guy isn't exactly right. Really, it's the powerhouse. It's the person who shows up, has a lot of like, who shows up and is very capable from the day that you meet them, right? And their main job is to handle the big threats and like show that like, you know, like their presence shows an escalation in pretty much everything, in the competence of your enemies, in the seriousness of the conflict, in like everything that's happening around you, and that's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing here. Like we saw earlier, Azula got like 2 other people who are all very dangerous, and Azula herself is very dangerous, and you know,
can't forget about them. We haven't seen them in a bit.
But like it doesn't take a genius to go, oh, we might run into them again. And now we have Toph, who's a person who is capable of on her own beating 5 very fully capable Earthbenders at once. Right, like
at least 5.
At least 5. I think.
I feel like there was like 7 of them.
I thought there was like 6 total. Oh wait, no, you're right. I think there were 6 total guys, 7 total guys. 6 of them she beat at once, and then like that one last dude.
Yeah.
Whatever, Zinfu. I always forget like Master Yu and Zinfu's names. Just like these 2 chuckle fucks that are.
Because their names aren't important.
They're not. They're like 2nd, 3rd tier villains that are chasing after us because Toph's dad paid them.
Man, fuck Toph's dad. I have more to say about that later.
Yeah, we can. I'm sure you've got spoiler stuff too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Toph is the powerhouse of the group. They needed somebody that can literally stand in the middle of like a full ass conflict and handle shit. Because Katara potentially can. Aang would hate to do that. Toph can't. Not Toph. Sokka can't. Toph can. I mean, like, and I'm excited to see the dynamics between this group. Like, they all have very different like personalities. I also want to talk about like Toph's kind of background, where we see her. Like, when we arrive at Toph, it feels like she was in the middle of what could have been her own entire story.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there could have been so many episodes of just talking about how Toph discovered her earthbending abilities and
learned and grew.
Just made the decision to hide it from her parents. Got into Earth Rumble 6 and used that, whatever. Like, I'm sure there's an entire.
She was at least
story.
in Earth Rumble 5. I don't know about 1 through 4.
Right.
But she was the reigning champion from the last Earth Rumble.
So she was at least in Earth Rumble 5, right? And everyone knows about the fucking Blind Bandit. Like that's an entire story, but we don't see all of that here. What we do see is this last bit, that she's already established her dual life, where she's Bruce Wayne and Batman, but she's really Batman. Like,
I guess, yeah.
I actually have more to say on that analogy, but like it's fine. The main point is that she is hiding who she really is with her like quote unquote civilian persona. And like her parents are providing a kind of assistance with that by shielding her from the world and having a 12-year-old not have any friends or acquaintances or anything.
Like, what the fuck? Nobody knows that she even exists?
Yeah.
Excuse me? I just don't have words. I am just, like, fuming at this entire concept that these parents are like, okay, we're gonna have a secret child because she's so, like, sad and breakable and blind. Like, what?
Yeah.
What? Being overprotective and over-sheltering her is one thing. Lying about her very existence is another. That's like a whole nother level of fucked up.
Yeah.
It is interesting, though, that Aang's vision in the swamp was of her.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
in her nice clothes, I guess.
Yeah, like the vision, it felt like after watching it again, it helped me connect the dots a little bit better. It feels like the vision, like, let's stay within the canon. The swamp was basically saying, you're going to need this information.
Yeah.
Is really what it felt like was happening.
Yeah. You're going to need to know.
You're going to need to know these things. Because without that vision, I don't think they would have found Toph. They would have had to wait until Earth Rumble 7. Or like, yeah, no, they would not have. I mean, maybe they would have gotten caught up in the kidnapping scheme. Mm-hmm. Maybe. But like, it also could have just as easily just been they found only Toph, and then they kidnapped only Toph, and then the ransom was paid and they left, and that was it. Right? Like, there's a very real possibility that without that vision, they actually wouldn't have found Toph. They wouldn't have gotten her. So that's another thing. And like, we were talking about it in the swamp episode. It was interesting and weird. The swamp just kind of gave us that vision of her, but like it seemed very different in like the kind of vision from the others, I guess. Mm-hmm.
I do feel like even between like her and Aang walking around the gardens and Toph at the end of the episode, like her personality changes so much. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. Even though she's like opening up to him, she is still kind of like in the facade.
Yeah.
Right?
Like,
she's still talking like kind of, I don't know, quietly and meekly, and she's a lot more reserved, even as she's like, I don't know, admitting about her double life to him for the first time. But then she comes out at the end and she's just full Toph.
Yeah. Like it.
No holds barred.
Like this is like still emphasizing what like I was kind of trying to say before, where like it feels like there's a whole story before this, and it feels like this episode is actually the climax of a different story that we didn't see most of. Mm-hmm. This feels like the last thing that made Toph decide, you know what? I can't keep living this double life. I have to be this other person, right? Like, it feels like we were the impetus for her to make a real change in her life that she's been considering at least since she was 8. Like,
yeah, I mean, her parents discovered her, and she was like, you know what? I don't want to lie to you anymore. Like, I'm good at earthbending, and I'm gonna keep doing it, and I like want that to be okay.
Yeah.
And her family's like, no. And so she's like, okay, bye. Fuck you too.
We the parents know how to not alienate our daughter.
Jesus Christ. Just stupid.
And we don't spend too much time on the parents, but like they do not see her as a person.
No, she's an object.
Yeah.
She is a possession that they own.
She's a symbol of their status in marriage.
That she's gotta go. They gotta go buy her back when she gets ransomed.
And I gotta go send people to find her.
Yeah, when she runs away.
Yeah.
And there's no like, oh my god, like is she gonna be okay? Like, oh, we're gonna miss her so much. It's just like, no, how dare she?
They also just didn't even try to stop her when she's like, no, I'll fight these guys. Which was weird to me on every watch. Every single watch, I'm just like, you think that she is a blind, fragile little girl. I'm shocked that you don't like actually turn around and like actually try to prevent her from doing anything. Like, I'm surprised that we didn't have to see her like use a little bit of earthbending to like move her parents out of the way. Like, they didn't really try.
No, they have shown no actual concern for her. Like, in their words, they're like, oh, we're just so worried because you're so fragile and we just don't want you to get hurt. But really, they're just fucking embarrassed.
Yeah. So.
They're like sad, pathetic, fucking materialistic, vain people who are embarrassed and ashamed of her.
Yeah.
For having a disability. Like, straight up, that's what it is. I am certainly like connecting some dots and making some inferences, but I don't think it
doesn't seem that hard.
Unrealistic or difficult.
Yeah, I mean, like, we even have like the way her father talks about her and her earthbending ability in front of her when they're at the dinner too, where he's like, yeah, she's because of her blindness, she'll never be a great earthbender. Like, I don't know, man. Like, even if that is true, which we know is a falsehood, right? The way he spoke about her was almost as if he doesn't expect her to care about what he says about her ability as an earthbender. He just does not give a fuck about what his daughter thinks about his assessment of earthbending.
You know, at the end of the day, they don't pay her ransom because they, like, miss her, and they don't send people after her because they're worried about her safety and want her to come home. It's because, like, they don't want, like, her to get out.
Yeah.
And put a fucking stain on their reputation.
Yeah. So, the Beifongs, man.
This is what happens when you give people a last name in this universe. They get all self-important, think that they can just do whatever they want, because they have 2 names.
Shit, even the Fire Lord doesn't have a last name.
Well, no, I mean, he doesn't need one.
Yeah, but, like, the Beifongs are like, we are the only people with a last name. Even the Fire Lord doesn't have a last name. Even the Earth King doesn't have a last name.
Hate them.
Yeah. What else do we have? Anything else we want to talk about right now? There's a lot more to delve into, but we gotta... I mean, before we go too far, I do want to talk about just, like, the general, like, the way she melds with the group from the start, right? Mm-hmm. Where she and Aang already have just, like, very conflicting personalities, and it's hilarious just from the start. But you can also tell they're both children. We established from the beginning she's 12, he's 12. They're both 12 years old, and they both act like it. Mm-hmm. The family dinner scene where they fucking ruin dinner because they're being petty.
It's hilarious.
Really funny, and they just kind of like the rest of the family just laughs it off too.
Like, I'm not a big Tang shipper, but I get it in that scene. I think that's fun. And also, like, later in the episode when, like, he's the first person that she opens up to.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But yeah, and then, like, she doesn't really interact too much with Katara and Sokka.
No, but not really.
Like that, they're around. But Sokka does throw the fucking belt at her and at her goddamn head. And he can't be entirely blamed for it. We did see her catch, like, that was flying at her during the fight. But
just
Sokka!
think for 2 seconds, Sokka.
Sokka!
I think that's a pretty good transition into the golden fuck.
Oh, is it?
Uh-huh.
All right. Do you want to go over your golden fucks first? It does seem like you have
I do. I have 2 golden fucks.
I have two.
Yeah, so my first one, which I think is the best one, which is why I transitioned with this, is I think Toph should say fuck when she gets hit on the head by the belt. Like, what? Of course. Ow. That shit hurts. Yep. That's heavy. Mm-hmm. Appa's kind of tall. Felt pretty high.
That belt looked heavy.
Yeah, like, the whole point of it is to be heavy, right?
That belt looked heavy.
I think that she should say fuck when she gets hit on the head.
Okay. That's a good one.
You want to alternate? You want to go with your next one?
Oh, yeah, I'll go next. My first golden fuck is during Earth Rumble 6 when
good time.
So we've got
good fuck time.
We've got Aang agreeing to fight the Blind Bandit, and then like Aang's like, I don't want to fight you. I want to talk. And Sokka's like, boo, no talking. And Katara goes, don't fucking boo him.
I love that.
What the fuck, Sokka?
Sokka.
Yeah.
So. Oh, that's amazing. That's excellent. Mm-hmm. My other one is not the best, but it's pretty early in the episode when Xinfu is, like, getting upset that Toph lost. And he, like, bangs on the rocks, and then a rock falls on his toe.
Says fuck there, too.
Yeah. Obviously. Yeah. Physical pain is the best time to say fuck. It's very cathartic.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's not as good as the Toph one, because it's effectively the same thing, but a better character at a better time.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I wrote the worst one first, so.
Yeah. And then the other one I have is when Toph challenges all of the people to the fight. She says, I beat you all before and I can do it again. And the reason why I didn't say the fucking there is because there's so many different places I fucking beat you all before and I can fucking do it again. I beat all you motherfuckers before and I can do it fucking again. Like, there's so many ways you can put the word fuck in there.
I like the idea of her saying all you motherfuckers.
In front of her parents, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one. I mean, I think that's the better of yours.
Okay.
Even though Katara was also very good.
I mean, like, either way, Toph's getting it this time around. But do we have a favorite total?
Not really.
I like both of them, and I don't have a strong feeling on one over the other. What's up? Why are you looking at me like that?
No, the sun came out, and I started squinting because it was bright in my eyes. That's literally it.
Got it. I thought you were, like, squinting at me. Yeah, you do that. Anyway.
I mean, I do squint at you sometimes.
You do squint at me. So, yeah, I mean, like, Toph gets the golden fuck in her premiere episode.
Amazing.
A
queen.
Love it. This is great.
Fucking queen.
Cool. And with that, we will go to the spoiler section.
Yeah. Cool. Fuck Toph's dad.
All right, tell me about what happens in the comics.
I fucking hate him.
Talk about the comics, please.
It's just... Honestly, I don't even super remember the plot of this comic, but it's in the Rift. And the whole thing is there's this, like, mining industry, I think, and they're having to destroy some kind of, like, historical or religious building or monument or something to do it, and it's another question of, like, tradition versus progress, blah, 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 who cares? The thing that upsets me is that in this episode, Toph's dad is, like, in charge of the industry part of it, and then he just straight up pretends he doesn't know her. Gaslights the shit out of her. Be like, I'm sorry, I don't know you, I don't have a daughter. To her fucking face. In front of everyone.
It's wild.
What an absolute scumbag. God, I hate him.
It is wild because a thing about the way I look at just terrible acts is I'm always just like, okay, well, how does this help you? And it doesn't seem to help him. Toph, at this point in the comics, should be world famous because
she's a war hero.
She is one of the people that helped defeat the Fire Nation. She also just so happens to be the creator of a brand new style of earthbending. Like you would want that person to be, you would want people to know that person is related to you. You would want that person to be associated with you because that opens up doors, it opens up connections, that gives you clout that he can't get as just a businessman.
No, but then he would have to admit that he hid her for the first 12 years of her life.
I mean, that's true. He should be ashamed of himself and he should not, maybe it was just him being like, not embarrassed, not ashamed, but just like, not wanting to address that terrible, terrible aspect of his entire personality. Like, the fact that he was a terrible parent for her entire life.
Yeah, like, I think...
And he just doesn't want...
I think in the end he kind of apologizes and is like, oh, I'm just, like, trying to start over or some... Hold on. Okay. I have to look this up.
Okay.
I mean, according to this, summary of the novel, their relationship ends with Toph confronting him and him just, like, not fucking responding. And she's like, well, fuck you.
Yeah. And, I mean, I prefer that to them going, Toph's dad apologizes, she forgives him, all is good or whatever. Like, the man neglected his duties as a parent for her entire life. The most parental thing he did was pay the ransom for her when she was kidnapped. That is the closest he ever became to an actual loving, caring parent.
Regardless, it's just absolutely stupid.
Yeah, and I mean, like, another thing I wanted to talk about is that we never get... The only backstory we get with Toph is a quick scene where Toph talks about how the badger moles taught her how to see through earthbending. And that's it. Even though we could have gotten so much more about her dynamic with her parents and, like, you know, the entire story that's implied that's not here. That she somehow started Earth Rumble 6, that she, you know, developed pretty much everything on her own. We could have learned a lot more about her relationship with her parents more explicitly, but we didn't. And I think it's an interesting, like, narrative choice. I kind of like it. The fact that we didn't focus on, like, Toph's relationship with her parents is a very important thing to her, but they're very much not in the picture by their own volition. And the story really shows that. Also, when we talk about how Avatar doesn't have mothers, can we talk about the fact that Toph technically has a mom, but she has
like 2 lines in this entire episode.
Little to no speaking roles, and she plays no part in the rift. Even when there's a mother present, she's not really present. And again, I don't think they do this intentionally, but they really have a blind spot. They don't notice the fact that they don't have moms anywhere in this entire story. I guess the Earth Queen in Korra was a mother.
Oh, please.
because you know, Prince Wu was her son. She dies also.
I don't think that's a great example.
I'm just
going for any technical mother.
I mean, that's the point, though.
Yeah.
That, like, even...
I know.
That I have to search for technical mothers, and all I got's the Earth Queen. Anyway. Yeah, like, Toph is fascinating because she also... her character arc is... It feels very... It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like she moves as a character as much as the other characters do, right?
Yeah.
Like, we watched the Hell Future Me video, and I'm sure we want to talk about that also.
Yeah. And, you know, as evidenced by her not having a field trip with Zuko.
Right.
it does feel like a bit of a, I don't know, I guess, smaller arc. At the very least.
Yeah, like, the fact is, there's an entire story that we didn't see a good chunk of for Toph.
Yeah.
Right? She came to us as a very nearly fully realized person.
Yeah.
Like, she is already a peer in almost every way to the gang. Yeah. And she stays there because she is their powerhouse. She is a person that they can rely on. Just generally, we do have that bit where she butts heads with her foil, Katara. Like, as it turns out, multiple people can have multiple foils. Katara and Zuko are foils, but so are Katara and Toph. What's up?
Nothing.
No, I need you to talk.
I was just trying to think if there's a ship name. For calling Katara, I'm sorry.
Zutafa.
That's for the...
Tafa. Tafara. Katoph.
Tara?
Tara.
Katoph.
I will say, and you might, I mean, I think you already knew this anyway. I'm like a minor Taka shipper. I love both of those characters. I think they have a really good dynamic, especially in the finale. And the only thing is, it has to be one of those like after the series.
Oh
things,
yeah,
right? Like it's like
they
got it.
They're all too young and have too many age gaps.
Yeah, but like
for anyone to have any real romance in the actual series.
Yeah, they also have like Toph fits personality wise in the group in an interesting way, I guess. She is like pragmatic in in a way, kind of like Sokka, but she's also childish in a way that's close to Aang, you know?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like so
she is also very stubborn, like Katara.
Yeah, and she's very stubborn, and we see them butt heads all the time, and it's so much fun. I love Toph's just general presence in the group. She's a stalwart member, and she's also the kind of person that they've been able to, like, they go through great lengths to help each other and to do things for each other.
You might say that she is a grounding presence. I
mean, yes, I know you're doing it for the pun, but that's actually a very good way to put it.
Yeah. It was like 50-50, like pun/analysis.
Yeah.
Like, Avatar isn't super subtle in its use of, like, elemental symbolism.
And it's very good, yeah. Yeah.
She is textbook Taurus.
Yeah, she's so good. I'll probably come up during this. Anyway, there's a Hello Future Me video that came up that we watched right after this episode, because I remember that it existed, and I was like, we got to make sure we watch it and have the context. And,
Hello Future Me, if you've missed us talking about it before, is a YouTube channel. Listen, if you are on YouTube and you like Avatar, I am sure you know of this channel because it's like
he's one of the best.
Top Avatar expert on YouTube, and it's for a reason, because he has really interesting analysis, and I don't know, he's just a smart dude, and he likes Avatar, and he has good things to say.
Yeah,
so highly recommend.
Get his book on writing and world building, Volume 1. It's out right now.
Volume 2 is coming out soon. We just voted on the cover.
But yeah, like, it's the entire point of it is that Toph's character arc is about her learning to depend on other people. I'm going to keep going back to this story that is implied that we never see. It's about Toph growing up blind and having these parents that don't treat her as a person, who don't acknowledge her agency, her autonomy, her capabilities. And so she has to prove to everyone in every way she can, outside of this secret identity that she has, that she's kind of forced into, right? That she can and is every bit as strong and capable as everyone else, and more so. And she shows it in everything that she does. But then she joins this group of people who love and care and genuinely recognize her for who she is. I think he might have mentioned it in the video. There was also some comments on it, but I want to bring it up again. It's part of the reason why a lot of the blind jokes that they have are hit so well. Whenever they the blind joke is basically that everyone forgets that she's blind, right? Yeah. And it's not because we're not poking fun at her disability. We genuinely see you as a peer. We see you as a person who is equal to us in every way that you can imagine. And sometimes it doesn't occur to us as we do things that are automatic that you do have this disability that prevents you from doing certain specific things that, like read and write or Yeah. And Toph usually plays it off pretty well. Even... I mean,
the butt of the joke is the fucking idiot other people who forget.
Right.
Is an important element.
Of course.
Of this humor.
Yeah. And there are various reactions, but it's almost always for fun. Even this time where I think this is the closest time where the butt of the joke is Toph, where Sokka throws the belt. The belt at Toph. And to his credit, she held her hand out. Appa's large. but
Sokka is large.
But Sokka, pay attention. But like, you know, and we see Toph kind of react relatively with relatively good humor most of the time, but she also kind of bristles at it sometimes. There was the one time where they are hanging up signs to find Appa and Ba Sing Se, and like they were like splitting up who was gonna go. They were like, you know, I'll go this way, you go this way. Toph, you'll go with Sokka, and then Toph's like, what, you think I can't do it? I can hang up some signs. She takes a sign and she like puts it on, I think backward, and she's like, it's upside down, isn't it? I'll just go with Sokka.
Honey.
All of that's to say, so we see this element of it where like she's now in a group of people that see her as a person. Like they see her as a full person, not the blind person. And she has to learn and develop and grow and you know, start to actually depend on those people. Her interaction with Iroh really makes a lot of progress towards that.
Yeah.
Iroh is your character development machine, right? Like he is the guy. If you want somebody to get some major character development, you just have them bump into Iroh real quick. We did it several times in Avatar. We even did it in Korra. Like he is your character development machine.
It's true.
But like, you know, then we get Toph doing things that are that are clearly depending on others. Even in the video, Tim said that, like, you know, the kind of one of the heights of her depending on people when she asked for Katara, I think, to write a letter for her. And I mean, like, I think that's right. I think that at this point she had to have been thinking about talking to her parents for weeks, months. I don't know how long they'd been gone at that point, right? Yeah. Like, it had to have been a long time that she was thinking about it, and she was not going to write. Like, first of all, she had to reach the point where she's like, I am willing to reach out to my parents. And then she had to be like, I am willing to reach out to the people close to me to allow them to help me reach out to my parents. Because if I could do this on my own, I would. But this is one of those things where it's uniquely is one of those things that she really cannot do on her own. She just can't.
Yeah.
Another thing that I wanted to talk about that we see in Toph and like her, I don't think it's really a development, just her growth, I guess. Or it's an element of her, an aspect of her. She is a very, very determined learner. She doesn't forget things that like have caused her problems in the past, and she does everything she can to make them to fix those failings. The main thing I'm thinking about is the sand in the library.
Okay.
When she had to fight the sandbenders, she couldn't do it. She had to hold the library up. Appa got stolen by the sandbenders, and she, I don't think, ever fully forgave herself. It doesn't show really, except when they're on the beach at the very end, just before the finale. And Toph's like, I've been working on my sandbending, and she makes a very, very detailed replica of Ba Sing Se in the sand with her earthbending. And it's just like, how much have you been training and working to get to that level of intricacy? Right? How long have you been thinking about, like, how long have you been thinking about that one time where you made it's so forgivable. Like, there's nothing you could have done. You did literally everything you could because it was either Appa or your friends all die. It was either Appa gets stolen or your friends all die, and you held up a library that, I mean, like, that shit, there's no way she should have been able to hold that shit up, honestly.
Yeah. No, insane.
It was an amazing feat of strength, and she, like, you can tell, she held that in, and she just learned how to, like, get better the entire time. Same thing with her metal bending. She got captured the one time, and she, like, had to work to break out, and then the next time we see her metal bending, she's so much more competent than that one time when she, like, kind of broke through. I feel like that's just an element of her. That's an aspect of her that, like, is only implied and never actually said. She is, I think, the only person that rivals her in this, like, determination in, like, these things that's Katara. And I think they have slightly different motivations. Like, Katara's mainly, like, waterbending is me. Waterbending is who I am. isn't like, I must learn this because this is my identity. And for Toph, it's not to say earthbending isn't her identity or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's just that, like, this is an expression of what I am to the world and how I can show that I am not weak. These weaknesses that I've had before will never be there again. You'll never see me fall. And so seeing her start to depend on her friends when she has this aspect of her personality that's like, I'm not going to fall or be weak, it shows that she's grown a lot. And we're just seeing the first step of it. We're going to have a lot of fun with it, and we're going to talk about it every step of the way. Toph is one of my favorite characters. I think she's one of, I can't think of
If you watch Avatar and Toph is not one of your favorites, what is wrong with you?
I don't know what show you're watching. But yeah. So.
I mean, Toph is not a character who I, like, I don't know, really connect with personality-wise.
Right.
But I think Toph's, like, character and her arc and her growth and her introduction especially, I think is a big reason why this show has so much appeal to, like, queer people. I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like I need to spell out the parallels between Toph's arc and, like, someone being a closeted queer kid in a family who is not accepting of it.
Right. And I can imagine.
But it is so easy to just put yourself in that situation.
Right.
As a queer person, even if you have, like, I don't know, like a supportive family and everything is going well for you, it's a fear for everyone, I feel like.
Yeah. And to state the obvious, I can imagine that it has a very similar, probably maybe even more profound impact on people that have some kind of disability. Me and Jesse just don't have one, and so we really can't say too much on it, unfortunately. But, like, that's got to be very big and significant and important to people that have some kind of disability, that, like, we have a character who's blind, and she's not pitied, she's not, like, overpowered for the sake of making up for her disability, right? Like, she is a peer, she is one of them, and we don't kind of dance around it or sugarcoat it or fuck around with it. The only thing that we do, and we've talked about before, is that we make her power kind of being sight a little bit. But, like, I don't know. That is only a minor criticism that I personally, a seeing person, have. I don't think that a lot of people, I don't know, like, I haven't seen anybody have a real problem with the way Toph's portrayed. And I wouldn't know. But, like, I think that this underlying arc of, like, kind of having to hide who you are up until a certain point where you decide this isn't enough. I need more, right? I think a lot of people can relate to that, and especially people that have been estranged or like excluded or hidden for whatever reason there may be. I think that's very relatable. And I'm really glad we have a character that kind of shows that and comes out of it immediately swinging, right? Like, I love it. It's great.
So that's all we have today for Book 2, Chapter 6, The Blind Bandit. We hope you'll join us next week when we talk about Book 2, Chapter 7, Zuko Alone. Until then, please go ahead and give us a follow on Twitter at SpoilersAreGood. We would love to hear from you there. And if you're enjoying the podcast, please consider giving us a like or a review on iTunes or your podcast listening host of choice. It really does help with visibility of the podcast. We also have an email, spoilersaregoodpodcast@gmail.com, if you have anything you want to send there. And we have recently opened a coffee account for any like monetary donations or like a tip jar if you are enjoying the podcast and wanted to support us in that way. All of those links should be down in the description of either this episode and or the main podcast description.
All right, until then, fuck Toph's dad's Jeff Bezos ass. Jeff Bezos?
Jeffrey Bezos.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fuck that guy. And just because it's spoiled doesn't mean it's rotten. See ya.
Bye.
Toph's character arc is effectively about learning to depend on other people.
I'd like to depend on this trash can not being so fucking loud.
Ha! Got him!